all of the flag lights go out and away they go. And it's a pretty good start by the car on pole position of number 80, Joe Thompson. And he's going to have the lead into the first corner. And around the first corner at target they go. And heading off up into the right-hander at the banking. Bit of a long delay before the second cars are released out into their race, it would seem. But it's Joe Thompson leading the way at the moment. It is side by side for the lead of the race, with 29 Harrington getting alongside him there. The S-Class cars finally do get away. It's Harrington that's gone into the lead of the race overall, though, and it looks like a change for second as well, because Ross Billison has briefly found his way into second position. Number 80 going up on the inside. That's Joe Thompson getting the place back, and Spencer Wanstall goes through as well. He's going to get to second as he nearly gets to the lead. This is fantastic racing for the Mini 7s.
Spencer Wanstall, that was desperately late on the brakes, and he got the car stopped. He used quite a bit of curb to help rotate it, but almost got second place. He slots into third position then behind the pole sitter, Joe Thompson, who's down to second. But Spencer Wanstall up for the fight here early doors. Then we saw in that Mini Miglia race earlier on, it's not actually as easy to overtake around here as you might expect in these cars, so getting to the front early definitely is significant. Now, what's going on in the S-Class? There's a big lock-up, there's a bit of touchy-feely stuff heading into Rocket Complex, and I think the 771 car there, that was Bradley Jordan, wasn't it, getting into the back of another car. That will have done a bit of damage to the front of his machine, but it's side-by-side for the S-Class lead heading for Peel Corner, and it will be the number 700 car then, and Matthew Ayres, who was actually fourth quickest in qualifying, who got the lead, but goes very wide at Peel, and hands the lead straight back over to Arnold Duncan.
Yeah, so Duncan, that's what Brown car gets into the lead of the race, but back ahead goes Matthew Ayres, who's really, moving the car around quite a lot through the corkscrew, and it is back into the lead goes Ayres by the end of the lap. Duncan in second. Third is the 704 car with the Welsh flag flying on the side of his car. That's Chris Pryor, so he's proudly sporting the Welsh flag here. Meanwhile, in the Mini 7s, that's Joe Thompson up on the inside of Damien Harrington for the lead of the race at Rocket. But does he go too wide? Yes, because Damien Harrington can get back up into the lead around the outside at the second part of Rocket. So it's Harrington leading, Thompson in second place. Gap back then to Ross Billison in third. Spencer Wanstall is in fourth position. You don't know where to look in this race, Andy.
You do need several pairs of eyes, really, don't you? But, yeah, two great races going on simultaneously. A bit wide there, heading down the hill for the number 29 of Damien Harrington then, who retains the lead of the 7 class in the 7Ss. Well, they're up at Rocket Corner, and Bradley Jordan, who was dishing out the contact a lap ago, almost there, getting a helping hand from the car behind of Callum Perfect as they turned into Rocket in, but managing to keep it clean just about. We've had Stephen Hopper into the pit lane, by the way, so Stephen Hopper from the 7 class itself pulling in with an early drama. But from what I can tell you, and I think we're in for a great scrap across both classes, but particularly the S's, this looks like proper Mini 7 racing.
No, it certainly does. So these are the S-Class cars. It's Ayres from Arnold Duncan. Look at the lines they take through the corkscrew. Look how they chuck these cars around. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. If anything, though, a bit more of a lead this time for Matt Ayres, ahead of Arnold Duncan in second place. Meanwhile, outright, it is up towards Rocket for Damien Harrington. He's got Joe Thompson behind him. Up on 3 wheels he goes, as they so often do at that part of the circuit, but it's still Harrington holding on from Thompson in second place and Billison in third position. The S-Class cars are just rounding the banking, heading down towards Church Corner. There's the treble 7 car. That's Dave Reese. He's got a little bit of damage on his car after that contact from Bradley Jordan a few moments ago. Right behind him at the moment is the number 736 car of Bertie Wollard as they're making their way now up towards that right-hand kink past the racing school, then continue the climb up to the left-hander at Rocket. And there you can see the car in second place of Duncan. We've also got that battle going on featuring Reese and Wollard. That's for about fourth place. There's a bit of a wheel arch that's gone flying there. That's not unusual in Mini 7 racing either.
That was Bradley Jordan again, getting into the back of Bertie Wollard, I think it was, on that occasion. Sorry, no, Callum Perfect, actually. So Bradley Jordan, yeah, losing another place to Callum Perfect up the back straight, and then getting into the side of his car slightly as they went through Rocket. So Bradley Jordan slipping down the order ever so slightly. The leader, definitely Matthew Ayres, getting away here, I'd say, from Arnold Duncan and Chris Pryor, though. So if those two keep on battling, then the leader is in danger of breaking away from the slipstreaming range, isn't he? In fact, I'd say he already is, really. What's that? Nearly a 2-second lead. 1.7 seconds the advantage for Matthew Ayres in the S-Class. Cut back to the Sevens, where the wheel arches sat right in the middle of the road, but the leading trio all managed to straddle it pretty well. And still Damien Harrington the leader. Damien Harrington Harrington now with the fastest lap as well, also 124.721, 2 and a bit tenths actually quicker than Joe Thompson behind. Ross Billison doing his best to stay with them, but really the most of the action happening within the S's, where there's a change for third place. Dave Rees up the inside of Chris Pryor and takes that third place away at Church.
And Bertie Woolard might try to follow through as well, because he's getting alongside the Chris Pryor car now. He's got his nose in front, he's got his bonnet in front. Can he make the move? No. Pryor gets back ahead. In fact, it's the 736 car that's going to lose out to Callum Perfect, who gets a bit of an unwanted helping hand there from Bradley Jordan as well, as they headed into Rocket that time. So they're not shy, are they, these guys, about a little bit of touching now and then, so it would seem. But it's Rees now, the very experienced mini racer in the 777 car at the head of this group. They're just falling a little bit behind Matthew Ayres and Arnold Duncan in the lead of this S-Class. There you can see them. They both are just making their escape a little bit now after those intense early exchanges. And it's a similar story in the Sevens as well, because Damien Harrington is getting away a little bit. So there's Ayres, number 700. Arnold Duncan in 789 is next up. He's not been on the podium yet this season, hasn't Arnold Duncan? He's had 6 top 6 finishes, yet to finish, though, in the top 3. So is that about to change today?
Well, he would hope so. Going the right way about it for now, isn't he? In second position in the class. Dave Rees there in third. That move that he made on Chris Pryor, just allowing the second place man to get away slightly from this group. Head up towards Church Corner. The lead gap in the S's, by the way, Ayres back to Duncan 2.8 seconds and went out by 1.3 seconds on the previous lap. As for the second lap in a row, Chris Pryor finds himself on the outside line at Church Corner, and up the middle of them all goes Bertie Woolard, and Bertie Woolard will gain 2 places out of that. I think Bradley Jordan trying to buy into this as well. They almost 4 abreast, heading up the hill, 3 wide they can just about get away with, and Woolard, having looked like he was gaining places, then ends up losing them. Bradley Jordan is sideways under braking. The 2 cars ahead make a completely different line through Rocket in, and in the end it's Callum Perfect who will lose out. He is re-overtaken by Chris Pryor, so Pryor goes 4th, Perfect 5th, Jordan 6th, and Bertie Woolard, who at one point looked like he was going to pass the lot of them, Ian, falls to the back of that group.
Absolutely sensational racing, isn't it? Especially when they're under braking. This is the benefit. I mean, they're putting out not that much horsepower, these cars in the S-Class, so they're underpowered. It's all about momentum. That's so important. It does mean it's so close, the racing on the brakes, into slow parts of the circuit, such as Rocket. There's Arnold Duncan. He's being caught now a little bit by Dave Rees, I think. Let's just have a look at the gaps that time through. Yeah, Rees was about 1/10 of a second faster. So that's catching, and it's Pryor that's now hit problems. He's falling to the back of that group. Is that, that looks looking like a terminal issue, isn't it? Because he's dropping further and further back. I thought it might just have been a missed gear or something like that, but it does look like it's something that's going to rule the Welshman out of the race on his home tarmac.
Well, that is a shame, isn't it, then, because that sort of split that pack up as well a little bit. As he lost drive, the other cars around him had to sort of slow down and take avoiding action as well. So hopefully they'll all be able to group back together again a little bit. But, yeah, a bit of a shame that's just separated some of the battles. Not all of them, though. Bertie Woolard on the tail here of Bradley Jordan, and about to try and slip up the inside into Rocket. I suspect he's late on the brakes. He's got the inside line. Bradley Jordan wants to close the door, but can't. He doesn't really need to, though, because he hangs on around the outside through Rocket in, gets the inside for Rocket out, and keeps Bertie Woolard at bay. So Bradley Jordan then successfully defends 6th position in class. Bradley, the younger brother, I believe, isn't he, of Andrew Jordan, former British Touring Car champion. With the son of Mike Jordan. Bradley just beginning his motor racing adventure in Mini 7s, where else better for him to learn his craft, and certainly been getting stuck in so far today.
Absolutely right. I think the whole Jordan family was interviewed at the last meeting by David Addison before the Mini 7 races there at Thruxton. And it was great to see what a family affair it is between Mike and Andrew and Bradley as well. There we can see more fantastic racing going on. That's Dave Rees that was really pushing hard, using all of the curb and probably just about all that he was allowed to there as he pushed on. Still in third place within that class. He's 1.4 seconds now behind Arnold Duncan. Best lap within the S class has gone to Ayres. He's just done it actually, 1:26.654. That compares to the best time in the Mini 7s themselves, a 1:24.687 for Harrington. And that is a lap that is pretty much on the existing lap record for the Mini 7s. Just a thousandth or two outside of it at this stage, I reckon. Could see that lap record go today.
Chris Pryor, by the way, did limp back to the pit lane, so that's good news. He's not stranded out on track, but bad news, he's out of the race with whatever that mechanical drama was. As here comes Arnold Duncan, second place within the Mini 7S category, but not able to live with the pace of Matthew Ayres at the moment, not even remotely really. Matthew was nearly 6 seconds clear at the beginning of the lap, and I suspect that gap has gone back out again on this one. I would say, though, that Callum Perfect has closed back in on Dave Rees, so third position in the S-Class could still be up for grabs. Matt Ayres, though, in dominant form, having got to the front, he then did just sort of, slowly initially, but then after he gained that little bit of a lead, it's been a rapid increase of that advantage, and he is now 7.3 seconds up the road from Arnold Duncan, lapping nearly 2 seconds a lap faster.
Yep, with 8 3/4 minutes of the race left to go as well. And it has, for a moment, become a little bit spread out by the standards of Mini 7 racing, hasn't it? There are still some battles to be had down the field, it would seem. There's Lappery has started now for the race leader as well, because Damien Harrington has just got past the number 785 car of Tony Ayres, and Joe Thompson in second place is about to do that as well. Here is the fight, though, that we were talking about. Dave Rees and Callum Perfect. Perfect in the 765 car. He's been a class winner in Hot Hatch before as Callum Perfect, but he's losing out to Dave Rees here in the battle for third place for the moment. But he did take time out of him, half a second or so on that last lap. Bradley Jordan, though, was actually faster than both of them on the previous lap as well, so he needs to watch out for him. He's continuing to close down on them as well. He's in 12th place overall and 5th within the S-Class at the moment, with just under 8 minutes of this race left to go. So that's looking like where the battle might be for third place within the S-Class.
Yep, out of the final corner they come then, and, well, are they catching Arnold Duncan, though? I think they might be. Duncan did a 28.7. Yeah, they were 2/10 quicker than Duncan, so they're back within a second now of the second place man in class. So could yet become a fight for second. It's a 20-minute race, this, remember. We are only 2/3 of the way through it, 7.5 to go. And I think they could still catch Arnold Duncan. And with Bradley Jordan catching them as well, it will then become a four-way fight, potentially, for second place in class. So this could continue to build up quite nicely. If you get within a second, 3/4 of a second maybe of the car in front, you'll start to pick up that slipstream, and then the last 3/4 of a second evaporate usually pretty quickly. So, yeah, I think we could get them all back together within the next lap or so.
Yeah, I think you might be right. So they're sort of overlapping now on the run-up to School Corner. Here's Perfect. He's almost overlapping with Rees into Rocket that time. Jordan with them as well. And then Duncan only about 9/10 of a second ahead. And Duncan, one of the few drivers I've seen racing a brown car in recent years. Yeah. I can't think of too many other examples, but you know, if it works, then that's great. So he's in second place. Matthew Ayres, how far ahead is he within that class? He's now 9 seconds or so ahead of Arnold Duncan. So Matt Ayres has pulled away and as befits his lead in the championship in the S-Class so far this year. We're roughly halfway through the season in the Mini 7 Racing Club. Their various championships. They did all lose either 1 or 2 races at Cadwell Park earlier in the year on a very wet weekend, so they've made up some of those races already. I think they're also going to all get the next race at another event later in the year, both the 7s and the Melias. But this is officially round 9 of 17 in the championship this year, so pretty much the halfway point of the season. So there's Perfect in the 765 car. There is Matt Ayres, the class leader, as we say, a long way ahead of anybody else within that class. And he is, I think, catching some of the stragglers in the Mini Se7en class itself now.
Yep, Stephen Hopper, I think he's only a couple of seconds behind. Now, this for second place in the S's, they have caught Arnold Duncan, as I suspected. That last second or so that he had has vanished pretty quickly. He did make a bit of a mistake, it seemed, going into Rocket, but actually gaps Dave Rees because he got it even more wrong. So he's got Callum Perfect and Bradley Jordan tucked up behind him now. They're about to come back into our sight out of the window anyway, over the top of the hill down towards the corkscrew. And Callum Perfect hunting around behind Dave Rees, who takes a slightly wider turn into the corkscrew, but they all end up single file dropping down the hill. And as they head for the final corner, we will have 4 3/4 minutes of the race to go. The outright race leaders, of course, are over half a lap ahead of this group, but this is the most entertaining battle on the track, certainly. And Arnold Duncan with a fight on his hands if he wants to retain this second place.
Yes, indeed. So it's really coming to life, this race, in the last quarter. These 4 cars all together. Bradley Jordan there locking up on the way into the banking. This just lightly banked. It's actually a bit more steeply banked than it looked on that short hairpin. Sort of the second corner of the lap. It's quite a challenge to get that right. Different lines that you can take through it to make it work. So there's Bradley Jordan, and he is chasing after Callum Perfect and Dave Rees, who's been the competitor in Mighty Minis as well in the past. And as we say, Arnold Duncan side by side between Perfect and Rees. Perfect's going to be on the outside line. Bradley Jordan's trying to squeeze between the two of them. Can he gain anything from all of this? He's determined to do so. Perfect's got ahead of Rees. Is Rees going to lose a couple of places here because Jordan's on the inside of him? He's not all the way alongside though, so Rees, I think at Peel, is going to hold on, although he goes quite deep into the corner. A bit of an overlap going on there, but the next corner should favour Rees because it's the left-handed first element of the corkscrew, and he does indeed hang on to the position. So Jordan not really having made up any positions as yet.
Yes, but another example there, we've seen this a few times in this race, of a driver who had been looking likely to gain a place, then losing one in the shape of Dave Rees, with Callum Perfect steaming round the outside of him into Rocket. And Callum now looks pretty racy against Arnold Duncan, doesn't he? 3 minutes left of the race to try and find a way through, and the blue number 765 car on the tail of the second place man within the 7S's. Bradley Jordan there with a very early turn into the banking. You can do that into the banking because that camber does help rotate the car, but sometimes you'll lose a little bit of exit speed as a result. And as a result, perhaps, of their battling, they've just dropped a little bit of time now to Arnold Duncan and Callum Perfect. But this lap, perhaps, Ian, Callum might start to think about making a challenge for second place towards Rocket.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I mean, he's not going to get any further than that because Matthias is so far up the road now, more than 14 seconds up the road. But there is a chance here. There's also a chance for Rees to be passed by Bradley Jordan, and I think he's done that this time. He's gone through on the inside. Has he gone wide on the exit? No, Rees is just about going to hold on to that. That means they have lost a little bit more time to the 2 cars in front, Callum Perfect and Arnold Duncan, who we're going to see come into shot here. It is still Duncan ahead. Callum Perfect's about 3 mini lengths behind him as they drop now down to the corkscrew once again, back towards the start and finish line at the sort of lowest point of the circuit, really, down at the start line. There's our race leader, Damien Harrington. We've not seen a lot of him in this race, but he is still 4 seconds ahead of anybody else. Joe Thompson, number 8, he's still in second. He was our pole position man, don't forget. And Ross Billison, number 3, in third. But paying attention still to this battle for second place within the S-Class, it's still Arnold Duncan, 789 ahead of 765, Callum Perfect.
Yep, but for how much longer? Here comes Bradley Jordan steaming up the inside. That early turn into the banking really working that time. That was a bit of a block pass, as they'd call it in America. And I think it might have netted him 4th position. Yes, it did. So good move made there by Bradley Jordan. He sort of teed that up a lap ago, didn't he? And then really committed to it that time. Now, what can Callum Perfect do? Can he take a leaf out of the Jordan book and be very late on the brakes into Rocket? Well, there might be an opportunity up the inside. No, Arnold Duncan closes the door. And then Callum Perfect forced to go the long way round. Oh, and Dave Rees was back ahead of Bradley Jordan, but Bradley then nipped back up the inside into Rocket. So something went wrong there for Jordan through Church Corner, but he got the place back again. So Bradley Jordan does now make 4th place in the class his own, and still it is Arnold Duncan keeping Callum Perfect at bay for second.
Absolutely. Callum looking to match his best result of the season, which was a second place at Snetterton a little bit earlier on in the season. Keen to do that, but he's got to get back ahead of Arnold Duncan to do that. He's had a couple of podiums this year. As I say, Arnold has yet to have a podium this season, so he'll be very keen to cling on to second place. It will be at a distance away from Matt Ayres. So they are going to go on to their next lap. I'm not sure it's the final lap as yet, though, because only just about now is Damien Harrington going to... Yeah, he's going to go on into his last lap. So still 2 laps to go for the S-Class cars, unless Harrington laps them before the end of this one, which I don't think he's quite going to do.
No, I don't think so. He's doing 1 minute 25, they're doing 28, and I think he's more than 3 seconds behind. So hopefully he doesn't. I'd like to see this battle run on a little bit longer, because I do think Callum Perfect's going to have a go here. He has half a chance. Bradley Jordan, meanwhile, I think is probably closing back in on them slightly. Now, yes, he did a high 27. They were in the low 28s. He was about half a second quicker than these two, and that was with an overtake and a bit of side-by-side battling with Dave Rees. So with a lap and a half to go, Bradley Jordan could yet get back into podium contention, especially if these two start battling, but they're not really doing that this time around through Rocket. They stay single file. Arnold Duncan just ahead of Callum Perfect, but Bradley Jordan looks actually the quicker of the 3.
He does, doesn't he? So let's see. They've, as we say, just about got a lap and a bit to go. Damien Harrington is not too far behind them now. He's about to come through. There he is to take the checkered flag. He's 5 seconds clear of Joe Thompson, so he's dropping down into the corkscrew for the final time. So Damien Harrington, yet to be a winner this season. He's had 3 podiums. None of those have been a P1, though. He's been on the in the top 6 on 6 occasions out of the 7 races so far, but he's coming through the final corner now, and Damien Harrington, for the first time this season, is a winner in the Dunlop Money Se7en Championship. He takes the checkered flag, and he's going to finish about 5 seconds clear of Joe Thompson in second, and Ross Billison should take third position. The battle, though, for the S-Class cars, that is just coming off the banking and towards Church Corner.
Yep, through the right-hander they're about to go, so realistically one more shot at this for Callum Perfect, but he'll have to be mindful of Bradley Jordan. If he goes for a move and it doesn't work, it could end up costing him third place, and he may find himself off the class podium altogether. It's all going to sort itself out then as they head towards Rocket for the final time. The slipstream takes effect. Callum Perfect closes in. Does he launch it to the inside? No, just can't quite outbrake Arnold Duncan. Look at Jordan steaming in behind them. His car is by far the best under braking, isn't it? And he just couldn't quite make the move stick into the right-handed element of Rocket, and I think that Bradley Jordan's going to have to settle in behind Callum Perfect for now. No real further overtaking opportunities on the lap. Of course, a mistake could still yield an opportunity to gain a place, but for now they stay in the same order, heading towards the corkscrew.
Meanwhile, Matty Ayres goes across the line now to win the S-Class. Who's going to be second within it, though? They're just dropping down through the corkscrew for the final time. Any mistakes there from anyone? No, not really. So it looks like it's going to be Arnold Duncan who's going to come through to take his best result of the season so far. A second place, Callum Perfect third, Bradley Jordan fourth, Dave Rees in fifth within the S-Class, and he's the last driver to take the checkered flag. So Damien Harrington it was that was the winner in the Mini 7s, the S-Class won by Matt Ayres, and Harrington's best laps on 1:24.687, just 2 thousandths outside Mike Jordan's lap record from a couple of years ago. Confirmation that Harrington got the victory then in car 29, 15 laps he completed in 21 and a bit minutes. Joe Thompson 5.2 seconds behind him in second place, number 80. Third place, number 3, Ross Billison. Fourth to number 73, Spencer Wanstall. Fifth to number 14, Jamie Payne. And sixth to number 26, Nigel Davis. A dominant win too for Matt Ayres in the S-Class in number 700. He was, 17 seconds or so ahead of his second place car in that class, which was 789 Arnold Duncan. Sandwiched in between them was the last of the Mini 7, Stephen Hopper. Callum Perfect, 765, took third in the S's and 10th overall, ahead of Bradley Jordan, Dave Rees, Bertie Willard and Alex Watson. And just outside the top 14, Tony Ayres was the only other finisher. Chris Pryor retired to the pits, and of course Darren Thomas failed to take the start. He was pushed off the grid. So Mini 7s are back out tomorrow morning. They're the last race before the lunch break tomorrow around about 5 to 12. Still, 5 races to come this afternoon. We've got Mazda 7s, Bike Sports, the Armed Forces Race Challenge, KTEC Racing Clear Sport Championship, and BMWs from the 116 Sprint Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup still to come. So we look forward to those as we race into the early evening here at Anglesey today at this 750 Motor Club organised race meeting. And tomorrow it's a slightly earlier finish. Last race scheduled to start at 4:05, so everyone can make their way home for a hopefully reasonable hour tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have the cars coming out shortly for the Mazda 7s. They go without a green flag lap, and I don't think there's too much clearing up to be done at the end of that race, so it's going to be a relatively quick turnaround for them. So we'll head down to Parc Fermé right now and hear from Kieran Mugg with successful Mini drivers.
Well, if that race wasn't proof that all cars should be about 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide, then I don't know what is. But we have our race winner, Damien Harrington, here. Damien, that was an absolutely extraordinary race, but you managed to just manage your gap at the front of it. How was it out there?
I wasn't managing any gap. I was going as fast as I could every lap. It was, you just feel the pressure. I just kept looking at my rearview mirror, could see Joe behind me and Ross, so I just thought I've got to get every corner perfect, nail every gear change, and it's honestly, it's a very long time. That last lap board was about 10 laps too late.
And how are you finding the circuit? Is this a circuit that you enjoy driving at?
Oh, I absolutely love this circuit. Now I love it even more. But yeah, I've always enjoyed it. It's difficult, it's technical. With the wind, it changes everything. The rain changes everything. It's a great circuit, and we've got the beach right here. So I'm going to go off for a swim, I think.
I don't blame you. It might be a bit cold, but enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much. Now, we do have our Class B winner, Matthew Ayres, just there as well. Unfortunately, we haven't got enough time because the cars are just on the grid. So, let's see what happens.